Hey everyone, this is my 1992 Chevrolet Lumina APV. Always been a big fan of GM's Dustbuster vans. I'd always see them around as a kid and think, wow, that thing is ugly or so cool, but it really does look like nothing else. No other minivan of the 90s, doesn't even really look like any other GM product of the time. They made these from 1990 through 1996. 1994, the Luminas, as well as its siblings, the Pontiac Transport and Oldsmobile Silhouette, all received a facelift with usually just more rounded front end styling and some interior upgrades. This 1992 is equipped with the 3.8 liter V6, which became an option in 1992. All prior models and base models had the 3.1 liter V6 until the very last year, 1996, when they switched to the 3.4 liter V6. These vans are front-wheel drive. They were GM's first attempt at a front-wheel drive minivan, 6 years after the debut of the Dodge Caravan. Underpinnings are similar to the W-body sedans like the Buick Regal, Pontiac Grand Prix, Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme, and Chevrolet Lumina sedan. They have some of the similar engine options, and some styling cues in the interior are quite similar to those cars. One sliding door on the passenger side, like all other minivans of the time. Open up the front doors. You have this lovely warning label, not to hit your head on the corner of the door. And they close. No, it's just a really nice weighty feel to the door when you close it, kind of like a Mercedes G-Wagon. Doesn't feel tinny and light and cheap like modern cars. Especially nice considering that this van is actually made of fiberglass. The body panels on all the body panels on these vans are made of fiberglass, not metal, so they are dent and rust resistant. See the tremendously large windshield and the dashboard that's like 4 feet long. The positive to all these windows is excellent visibility all around. And driving this van is an absolute piece of cake. Dimensionally, it is 2 inches wider and 2 inches shorter in length than a brand new 2023 Honda Accord, for reference. So it is about the size of your average mid-size sedan today. This van is the CL trim. You could either get the base or the CL. The CL was the luxurious version, the more luxurious version. It comes with these absolutely lovely velour seats that have held up really well for 270,000 kilometers. The seat bolster isn't collapsed, and the material's in really good condition. Also, the carpeting is pretty nice. This van's equipped with power windows, power door locks, power mirrors, a 6-way power driver's seat with manual recline, tilt steering wheel. All of your light and window controls are up here around the gauge cluster as a column shifter. All these vans did. Pontiac and Oldsmobile models had an extra glove box up here. This you just have this one. Your fuse box is right here. Climate controls, your stereo. This was the mid-level stereo, so the base had no cassette player. This has the cassette player. You could also opt for a CD player. This van does not have. And you could also opt for rear air conditioning. And you'd have all that here. Some cup holders, and some storage, lighter. Later models had a full console that went to the floor with some extra storage. The 94 update brought that. But you can see visibility all around. You can see everything. It's a very airy feeling cabin. Also equipped with interior lighting. There's also a light down there. More storage. And all of the rubbers and plastics in this van are really nice. Lots of padding on the dashboard, Lots of padding on the door panels. Some more nice velour up here. And a very, very solid feeling door. More storage down here and some carpet. And a weird quirk of this van. You can kind of tell here, the driver's seat is actually angled about 5 to 10 degrees towards the center of the front of the vehicle. I think they did that to just maximize interior room. So you can see here, the passenger seat is right up against the door. So they put the seats as far away from each other to give, again, more of that airy feel. Come around to the back here. Single sliding door, like all minivans prior to the 96 Dodge Caravan. These vans came with these modular seats. They are individually removable and they are not adjustable. They are super plush and have the same nice velour material. And they have decent legroom. I'm pretty tall, I'm about 6'4", so my driver's seat is in the rearmost position and rather reclined. But this is really the place to be, this middle seat you can stretch out. And this is a very comfortable vehicle, easily for, 2 front passengers, probably 2 people in the back, and then maybe 1 in the third row. So it's a very comfortable vehicle for 5 people. If you put 7 in, it would be tight, but it is indeed a really comfortable road trip vehicle. These rear seats, probably not the best for adults on long journeys. They have no lower back support, but again, they're super plush and the seating material is second to none. You go to the third row, you could fold all these seats individually, like so, and you've got these really shallow cup holders on all of them. And see, my third row seat has probably never been used. The material is absolutely mint. You got a little bit of storage there and one of the only usable cup holders. You got a cup holder back here too. These really aren't usable cup holders. Any drink will fall out. And you got the 2 cup holders up there. Fold these seats forward to gain access to the rear. Previous owner replaced the headliner in this van, so it's in really good condition. Most of these vans you'll see have saggy headliners. Even got an ashtray in the third row so the kids can smoke. 4 rear vent windows for the second and third row. Again, this is not equipped with the rear air conditioning, which would be right here along the roof. Some nice old warning labels. And another fun fact, in 1994 when these vans got their update, it was the first van to offer a power sliding door. So a lot of later models will have that. This, of course, does not. It doesn't even have keyless entry, but it does have central locking. Here lies the 3800 V6. In 92 they had this aluminum intake. 93s and on they had plastic. Right here is where the washer fluid reservoir is supposed to be, but you have to take it off to get to the battery. So I had to change the battery. I haven't put it back yet. This engine produced 165 horsepower and 220 foot-pounds of torque. And it's paired with GM's 4T60E automatic transmission. Base models came with the 3.1 liter V6 with 120 horsepower and a 3-speed automatic. I believe the 4T30E or 4T40 or 3T30E or 3T40E. I'm not sure about that. But either way, this is the much better engine. It has enough power to roast the tires if you desire to. Tires are wrapped around these 15-inch alloy wheels, very similar to what you'd find on a Chevy Lumina sedan. So now I'm going to do my best to give you a little driving clip. Has a bit of an exhaust leak, so that's where that rumble is coming from. The steering wheel is super foamy and padded. Has some fake stitching. It's not a leather wrap steering wheel, it's just urethane, but it has held up pretty well. These GM steering wheels are known for kind of losing their color and going black. This one's not too bad. Partially because it is gray. Like Lumina sedans had a similar steering wheel to this. You can get them in like full red or full beige. They're really cool, but all the Lumina vans had this gray steering wheel regardless of what interior color you got. Mine's of course beige. You could also get a beautiful dark blue or a dark red. So anything that's gray in this van would be blue or red. Seats, carpet, dashboard, door panels, headliner. Check engine lights for some O2 sensor. And the parking brake light's on because the parking brake was one thing that it just couldn't find the right cable. So it does not have a functional parking brake. And also in the gauge cluster, you'll notice it just has a speedometer and fuel gauge with oil pressure and temperature. Pontiac Transports and Oldsmobile Silhouettes both had tachometers. Lumina did not have that option. Steering is just your standard GM hydraulic power steering. It's not very heavy, but it's also not very light. Has a very soft ride, and as I mentioned, supremely comfortable seats. And the visibility out all around is amazing. Little bit of noise when I'm braking, that's just from surface rust. Haven't driven it in a couple weeks, so that's to be expected. The 3.8 liter V6 has really good power. Again, 165 horsepower, 220 foot-pounds of torque. And I'm not gonna do it right now, but you can roast the hell out of these tires. Zero to 60 time according to Motor Week was 9.6 seconds. So that's not up to par with modern cars, but for the standards of 1992 and even 10, 15 years later than that, that's really not that bad. And you gotta love that column shifter. Something I wish they'd bring back in modern cars, because it just makes sense. So as I'm filming this, it is October 28th, 2023. I bought this van in March. You know, I just wanted a weird, fun, obscure vehicle. I've always loved these. So I knew of this one. Talked to the owner. He was like, yeah, I'll sell it to you. Needed a little bit of work, brakes, a brake line, a couple other small things. But in general, these are very simple vehicles. Parts are still fairly easy to find, especially things like brakes. Even the windshield I had to replace. And I thought that was going to be months, but first place I called. Had a windshield, had it installed within a week. The stock windshields actually have some solar tint, so if you ever see one of these vans on the road, or the ones that replace them, like a Pontiac Montana or a Chevy Venture from the late 90s, early 2000s, as well as other vehicles that were built on the U-body platform like the Aztek and the Buick Rendezvous, they all have that solar tinted windshield. So if you ever see one on the road, especially if you're wearing sunglasses, you'll see the red tint in the windshield. It's quite cool. It's unfortunate that this doesn't have it, but can't have it all. Yeah, so I bought this van about 7 months ago. Had some fun with it in the summer, took it on a couple trips, took it to a bunch of car shows. This thing gets attention everywhere you go. All of the 80s and 90s kids who grew up with these absolutely lose it when they see it. So it's been fun, but I don't really have much of a use for it anymore, and being that it is a 3.8 liter V6 in a minivan from the early 1990s, the fuel economy is not very good. I average about 13 to 14 liters per 100 kilometers, or about 17, 18 miles per gallon US. And it's too expensive to daily drive. So I'm selling it now. At the time of recording, it is for sale. Leave a comment or DM me if you're interested on Instagram at AidenCarSpotter. Probably won't be for sale for long. So if you're seeing this video roughly around the time that it's being recorded, again, late October 2023, it's probably still for sale. So hit me up if you're interested.